guys, it's Dr. George. Tucked in Tuesdays. I have my headscarf on. Let me turn on the air. It's a little toasty in here. There we go. That's better. So, I had a special request tonight from a teacher friend that I used to work with, Ms. Lisa Nolan. So, if you were on last week, you saw her in the comments put a book. I actually had the book and had never read the book, which is perfect for Tucked in Tuesdays because I never read the book in advance. Now, let me get my phone to make sure my ringer is off. If I brought it out here, I don't think I brought it out here. Yes, I did. So put in the comments that you're here. Share, share, share. Let me make sure my ringer's off. Yep, it is off. So we'll be reading tonight The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. And if you know Miss Regina Rogers, you probably know this book. It's how I got the book as well. So let me go ahead and share this myself so that I can have others to join. So I have that, and I have a comment up there. Let's see that comment. Hello, it's Lisa. This is all yours. Go ahead and share this live. I know during the summertime, people are running, they're school shopping, they're doing all the things, but I have the book right here. The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse, and I'm reading for the first time. I have a sticker in my book that says, Wishing you kindness, friendship, and love, XOXO. Love, Regina. I received my book in February 2020. So that's my little sticker there. And Lisa put a heart there. Thank you, Lisa. So here we go with the book. The book is dedicated to my lovely, kind mom and my wonderful dog, Dio. So, hello. You started at the beginning, which is impressive. I usually start in the middle and never read introductions. Same. It's surprising that I've made a book because I'm not good at reading them. The truth is, I need pictures. They're like islands, places to get to in a sea of woods. This book is for everyone. Whether you are 80 or 8, I feel like I'm both sometimes. I'd like it to be one you can dip into anywhere, anytime, start in the middle if you like, scribble on it, crease the corners, and leave it well done. The drawings are mainly of a boy, a mole, a fox, and a horse. I'll tell you a little bit about them, although I'm sure you'll see things here that I don't, so I'll be quick. The boy is lonely when the mole first surfaces. They spend time together gazing into the wild. I think the wild is a bit like life, frightening sometimes, but beautiful. In their wanderings, they meet the fox. It's never going to be easy meeting a fox if you're a mole. The boy is full of questions. The mole is greedy for cake. The fox is mainly silent and weary because he's been hurt by life. So here we go. Let's see what life lessons we learn. Oh, we're still reading. The horse is the biggest thing they have ever encountered and also the gentlest. They are all different like us and each has their own weaknesses. I can see myself in all four of them. Perhaps you can too. Their adventures happen in springtime where one moment snow is falling and the sun shines the next, which is also a little bit like life. It can turn on a sixpence. I hope this book encourages you, perhaps, to live courageously with more kindness for yourself and for others, and to ask for help when you need it, which is always a brave thing to do. When I was making the book, I often wondered, who on earth am I going to, who on earth am I to be doing this? But as the horse says, the truth is everyone is winging it. So I say spread your wings and follow your dreams. This book is one of mine. Hope you enjoy it and much love to you. Thank you, Charlie. So here we go. D'Angelo, oh, it's been so long. My wife is hopping on right now for my 7-year-old daughter, Sanaya, to catch the rest of tonight's episode. Hi, Beverly. Hope your granddaughter's watching as well. So here we go. Book starts off, hello. I'm so small, said the mole. Yes, said the boy, but you make a huge difference. Hi, Kaylin. What do you want to be when you grow up? Kind, said the boy. What do you think success is? Asked the boy. To love, said the mole. Those pictures up a little bit more. There we go. Well, hello. Do you have a favorite saying? Asked the boy. Yes, said the mole. What is it? If at first you don't succeed, have some cake. I see. Does it work? Every time? Just a tiny taste. The mole takes a tiny taste. I got you a delicious cake, said the mole. Did you? Yes. I ate it, said the mole. Well, he said, where is it? I ate it, said the mole. Oh, but I got you another. Did you? Where is that one? The same thing seems to have happened. What do you think is the biggest waste of time? Comparing yourself to others, said the mole. I wonder if there is a school of unlearning. Most of the old moles I know wish they had listened less to their fears and more to their dreams. So it's starting to be in color. What is that over there? It's the wild, said the mole. Don't fear it. Imagine how we would be if we were less afraid. And there's a picture. Enters the fox. I'm not afraid, said the mole. If I wasn't caught in the snare, I'd kill you, said the fox. If you stay in that snare, you will die, said the mole. So the mole chewed through the wire with his tiny teeth. So the fox is caught, so the mole frees him, even though he wants to eat the mole. One of our greatest freedoms is how we react to things. And there's a picture of the fox making a heart, if you can see the heart, and the mole is in the tree with the boy. Happy to tune in. Hi, Sharice, it's been a long time. And your little one, Sanaya, hello. I've learned how to be in the present. How? Asked the boy. I find a quiet spot and I shut my eyes and breathe. That's good. And then I focus. What do you focus on? Cake, said the mole. Isn't it odd? We can only see our outsides, but nearly everything happens on the inside. Be careful not to fall. So he falls in and he's up against the mole again. And there's the boy, the fox, and the mole. So much beauty. We need to look. So much beauty we need to look after. Being kind to yourself is one of the greatest kindnesses, said the mole. Sanaya says hello. Hello to you, Sanaya. And look at her little picture. You're so cute, Sanaya. We often wait for kindness, but being kind to yourself can start now, said the mole. Often the hardest person to forgive is yourself. Isn't that the truth? Sometimes I feel lost, said the boy. Me too, said the mole. But we love you, and love brings you home. I think everyone is just trying to get home, said the mole. Hello. Hello. Here comes the horse. Doing nothing with friends is never doing nothing, is it? Asked the boy. No, said the mole. And so that's them together doing nothing, of course. And there's more. You fell, but I've got you. So he falls off the horse. And the horse tells him, you fell, but I've got you. Everyone is a bit scared, said the horse, but we are less scared together. Tears fall for a reason, and they are your strength, not weakness. That's a good one. What is the bravest thing you've ever said? Asked the boy. Help, said the horse. When have you been at your strongest? Asked the boy. When I have dared to show my weakness. Asking for help isn't giving up, said the horse. It's refusing to give up. Sometimes I worry you'll all realize I'm ordinary, said the boy. Love doesn't need you to be extraordinary, said the mole. Well, hi, Kaylin. We all need a reason to keep giving, said the horse. What's yours? You three, said the fox. Getting home, said the boy. Cake, said the mole. I've discovered something better than cake. No, you haven't, said the boy. I have, replied the mole. What is it? A hug. It lasts longer. Nothing beats kindness, said the horse. It sits quietly beyond all things. Sometimes the horse, sometimes, said the horse. Sometimes what? Asked the boy. Sometimes just getting up and carrying on is brave and magnificent. Jamie, yes, you finally made it. And this is a good book, Jamie. How do they look so together and perfect? Asked the boy. He's talking about the swans. There's a lot of frantic paddling going on beneath, said the horse. The greatest illusion, said the mole, is that life should be perfect. Is it the moon? Asked the boy. It's a teacup. It's a teacup stain, said the mole. And that's and where there's tea, there's cake. He tells him, be curious. So he tells him the mole is really a tea stain. Life is difficult, but you are loved. So you know all about me, asked the boy. Yes, said the horse. And you still love me. We love you all the more. Sometimes I think you believe in me more than I do, said the boy. You'll catch up, said the horse. The fox never really speaks, whispered the boy. No, and it's lovely he is with us, said the horse. To be honest, I often feel I have nothing interesting to say, said the fox. Being honest is always interesting, said the horse. There's something I haven't told you, said the horse. What's that, said the boy. I can fly, but I stopped because it made other horses jealous. Well, we love you, whether you can fly or not. And so the horse, for the first time, we see his wings. And then he shows his wings. He says, okay. And then he flies. Is your glass half empty or half full? Asked the mole. I think I'm grateful to have a glass, said the boy. Oh, let me put a marker there. And keep reading. We don't know about tomorrow, said the horse. All we need to know is that we love each other. When the dark clouds come, keep going. When the big things feel out of control, focus on what you love right under your nose. This storm will pass. And then they show them after the storm. They're a little tired, but they're there. We have such a long way to go, sighed the boy. Yes, but look how far we've come, said the horse. Sometimes I want to say I love you all, said the mole, but I find it difficult. Do you, said the boy? Yes, so I say something like, I'm glad we're all here. Okay, said the boy, I'm glad we're all here. We are so glad you are here too. What's your best discovery? Asked the mole. That I'm enough as I am, said the boy. I realized why we were here, whispered the boy. For cake? Asked the mole. To love, said the boy. And be loved, said the horse. What do we do when our hearts hurt? Asked the boy. We wrap them with friendship, shared tears and time, till they wake hopeful and happy again. Do you have any other advice? Asked the boy. Don't measure how valuable you are by the way you are treated, said the horse. Let me read that again. Don't measure how valuable you are by the way you are treated, said the horse. Hmm. Always remember you matter. You're important and you are loved, and you bring this to the world. Bring to this world things no one else can. Oh, Jenny sends her love. Oh, Lisa, tell her I'm sending mine back. It's great seeing you guys today. Home isn't always a place, is it? And he says, thank you. And then he says this, and he crosses it out and says, look how far we've come. Sometimes all you hear about is the hate, but there is more love in the world than you could possibly imagine. This book is about friendship, and I couldn't have made it without my friends. So thank you, Matthew, Grace, Bear, Phil, Miranda, Amy, Emma, Scarlett, Charlie, Richard, and Helen, to name a few, whose conversation and love are so part of these pages. Thanks to the brilliant Irishman, Cohen, the brilliant Irishman who helped sew this book together, often late into the night. Thank you to everyone at Penguin, Sal, Joel, Tess, Becky, Lucy, Alice, Ray, Beth, Nat, and a special Laura who so kindly coped with me in my messy drawings. And thank you so much to you on social media who encourage me with everything. Thank you, Sarah, Daisy, and Christopher, for your love and endless cups of teas, and to my dogs, Dill and Barney. And then he has a little song at the end. God, this book, Lisa. I mean, I almost choked up at one point. This book is absolutely amazing. Hi, my sweet Kimber. Um, the boy, the mole, the fox, and the horse. I saw that it also had it on Amazon, but I got this from the Regina Rogers here in Beaumont, Texas. Guys, the biggest takeaway, there was one I had to mark the book. It says, is your glass half empty or half full? Asked the mole. And he says, I'm just grateful to have a glass. It's the small things. This book reminded me of, especially where, because sometimes I remember reading Tucked in Tuesdays and having thousands of people watching, right? And sometimes it gets a little discouraging. You get on and you have a few, but you know what? This book almost brought me to tears because it reminded me we have such a long way to go, sighed the boy. Yes, but look how far we've come. I'm still doing it. And that's what matters. The people that are watching it, that's what matters. The storm will pass. Kimber, the storm will pass. Um, Lisa says, I love this book. Great recommendation, Lisa. Beverly Dill says yes. And Lisa says, there are so many quotes I cherish. Yes, there's so many. Um, he says, sometimes I want to say I love you all, but it's difficult. So he says something like, I'm glad we're all here. And that's his way of saying he loves us. He loves the people that he's around. And that's love languages, right? People may not feel comfortable saying or doing things that you do to show love, but you have to look for the ways that they're showing. Maybe they just sit there silent. But I have to get this sign because if you were in this she shed, it's full of motivational stuff. But I have to show you this. So I keep this sign all the time. When I was in the hospital, I had this sign. And it says, life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you respond to it. And he said that at the very beginning of the book, right? And I love that the mole wasn't afraid of the fox and the fox was wanting to eat him, but he still helped the fox. And the mole still helped the fox. And so this book, wonderful. And I love this part when he says, what do you think is the biggest waste of time? He says, comparing yourself to others, said the mole. And he says, I wonder if there's a school of unlearning. Because sometimes we learn things, and as we grow up, we realize we need to unlearn them, right? And so there are some things that I was holding on to that this book allowed me to just unlearn, just simply unlearn. There's a lot of kind people in the world, and like the back said, we tend to focus on hate. And I have wonderful people in my life. Um, Dr. Kimber Knight is just an angel on earth, just the sweetest. Lisa's just the sweetest. I met Mr. Hunt through, we haven't met in person, but just the sweetest people I've ever met. The fox was silent during the adventure. And you know why? I feel like he was the most silent because he's the one that is seen as bad. So he was learning. I feel like he was learning, Lisa, the entire time. The fox was taking it all in because he's a predator, right? And so for the first time, maybe the prey was nice to him and released him, and that made him start looking, right? I love you too. So, guys, that is the book for Tucked In Tuesdays. It is, I didn't even get to say it, written by Charlie Mackesy, and permission granted by HarperCollins. My book for next week, because school is starting all over the world, is Rules for School. I'll be reading this, Rules for School. The author, Alec Greven, also wrote How to Talk to Girls, but we're going to be focusing on rules for schools and see how well we can keep those rules. And I wanted to mention one more thing. Dr. George has started a little ministry where I make blankets. I hand crochet blankets for adults and babies, but it's turned mostly to babies. So I am doing a raffle, and I'll put it in the comments. I am doing a raffle this week. You can go on, I'll put it on my Tucked In Tuesdays page. And this is the blanket that's being raffled. It's a small baby blanket. And it's $1 entry, and whoever wins it wins this blanket. This blanket took me about maybe 4 or 5 hours to make, maybe about 4 hours to make, and it's the size for a baby. And just to let you see, I'll be doing one every week, and the money will go to be making more blankets for kids in the hospital, um, babies that you may know that are sick. You just let me know. But the next week's blanket is actually, it's a lime green, but if you look, there's a tiny heart in the midst of all that green, a little tiny pink heart. So that one will be raffled off next week, and I'll do the drawing on Friday. Guys, thank you for your support. I know that Lisa Nolan and Jenny Angelo are spearheading getting supplies and clothing for the kids in Northridge, Maine, I think it is, and Maida. We know it as Maida. Follow their page. We're also looking for barbers and beauticians for Friday to cut the kids' hair. So if you know anyone, please let them know. There's a lot of kids all over that need help. And if you can help one or two, you've done more than enough. And the kids will grow up and they'll remember. Guys, remember, if nobody else tells you, Dr. George loves you. I did wear this flying squirrel tonight. Just for you, Lisa. Just for you. Guys, remember, next Tuesday, 7:30 p.m., keep me in your thoughts and your prayers. I'll see you guys then. Yes, you're welcome, Teresa. Love you guys. Have a great evening on purpose. Get some rest. Love you guys. Good night.